Hey guys, it's Matt on a very windy day in my neighborhood, and it is cold too, but today I'd like to talk to you about a new radio that came out from Radioddity called the HD-1. Now this is an FRS radio. I don't play around with these too often, but this is an FRS radio that's IP67 rated and has some other features. So we're going to check it out today. This was given to me by Radioddity in exchange for a review. However, they are having no input whatsoever on what I say in this review. So if you don't like that kind of content, go watch dogs jumping into pools or something. I don't know. But so this is the Radioddity HD-1. Two push-to-talk buttons, one on the right, my right, your left, and one right in the middle. Nice and bright so that you're not going to lose it, which I like. And a feature that I don't often see on FRS radios is a Kenwood style plug for the side where you can put a speaker mic in. So that's convenient if you want to use that kind of thing. So let's take a look at some of the features and see if it actually lives up to its IP67 rating. So I'm standing here next to this creek because I want to check the IP67 rating of the HD-1 and see if it actually is waterproof, as they say. Now, IP67 means it can be down in a meter of water for up to half an hour without any damage. So this little creek should really be no problem for it. So we'll turn it on.
15.
Working. We're going to dunk it in the water, try to turn it on again. And I had this string just in case it would get swept away. Another thing that they say is it's supposed to float. Now this isn't really deep water. I don't have a huge deep body of water. Maybe I'll try the pond over there and see if it floats. But we'll give this a shot. And I hit a rock for good measure. One more time. It does look like it floats. Okay, so I'm not going to be anywhere near half an hour, and clearly this is not potable water. Let's see if it turns on. Turns on. So obviously this is not deep water, but so far it is waterproof, so that's a good sign. So I wanted to take the HD-1 over to a deeper body of water because one of the claims that Radioddity makes is that it will float. So if you have this in your canoe or raft or boat and it decides to take the plunge, you should be able to find it. It shouldn't sink to the bottom like so many iPhones. Now that being said, this will be the second dunk that it gets. We threw it into the brook and it did okay there. So now we're going to throw it into this pond here and see what kind of results we get. So I'm going to turn it on this time. All right, there we go. And I do have it attached to a string so I don't lose it. And who knows, maybe I'll catch some RF in the water or not. Here we go. So it does look like it's floating. And there is quite a bit of wind today, so the current's actually moving it on me. I can't really do anything about that. The geese don't like RF. All right, still on, and it did float. Let's do one more test. I don't really want to get it in the mud because that's just messy, but I'm sure you could just rinse it off because it is still working just perfectly fine. Okay guys, so we're going to do a little bit of a range check now. We dunked it in water twice and it seems to be perfectly fine. My daughter's actually helping me here today, and I'd say she is about 150 to 200 feet that way. I don't know if you can see her. Probably 150 feet, maybe 200, let's say 200 feet. I don't have an accurate measurement with me right now, but we're going to do about 3 tests from one length of the park to the other. She's about a third of the way right now. So let me see if she can hear me. Hey, can you hear me?
Clear.
Okay, she said loud and clear. So I'm going to send her even further down and we'll see what kind of reception we get at that point. Okay, so I've sent my daughter even further away. She's now at the bridge, and that's got to be at least 200 plus feet. I'm looking 230 about, so let's see how it sounds at this point. Hey, how do I sound now?
Just fine.
Okay, so I'm sending my daughter probably at least 300 feet away, if not more. I will try to give accurate measurements on the screen once I get home and I can look at a map to see what these distances actually are. But it's not close. It's pretty far. You can see kind of where those yellow pylons are. That's where she's going to be. And we'll be transmitting to see what kind of reception we get at that point. I don't expect to have any issues, especially here. There's not a lot of obstructions. Keep in mind, the more obstructions between you and the person you're communicating with, the more problems you'll have communicating, especially if you've got a lot of metal between you and the person.
Bridge.
Okay, that's her. Okay, you sound loud and clear. How do I sound?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. Why don't you make your way over to the pavilion tent area there where they have the performances?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sending her even further, and there actually will be some metal between me and her at that point, and we'll see how that goes, but I really don't anticipate any problems. We'll be right back. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that this being an FRS radio is limited to 2 watts maximum, but not every channel will do 2 watts maximum. I'm not going to get into what channels do and don't, but the information's out there. Right now, we're on channel 16, which means we are transmitting at 2 watts maximum. However, some of these channels are limited to half a watt, and your performance is definitely going to drop if you're doing that kind of power. So we're at 2 watts right now, which is the maximum this can do, and it's working so far. So let me check in with her. She's at the pavilion, which is about as far apart as we can get at this point. Hey, how do I sound?
Fine.
Okay, great. You can make your way back. So far, these are performing exceptionally well, especially in this area. There are some buildings and some metal objects between us now, and there was no issue there. But again, we're on one of the 2 watt channels. Not every channel will do 2 watts. So the Radioddity HD-1 is IP67 waterproof as far as I can tell. It passed the test that I put it through, and that was, through a creek and also into a pond for not a super long period of time, but enough that it could have gotten waterlogged, and there's nothing in there. The distance and range seem to be acceptable, especially for an FRS radio. Like I said, just remember that not every channel is going to transmit at 2 watts, only some of them. So if you're finding that your range isn't great, you might be on one of those half-watt channels. You're going to want to move. Now, it has some nice features on it. It will charge standing up via a USB-C port on the side, or it comes with a cradle where you can charge both at the same time through one USB-C cable that goes into the back. If you would prefer to use the charging cable that comes with it, well, that's actually kind of a cool feature too, because it's a 1 to 2 split. You get one USB-C that splits into 2 USB-C and can still charge them at the same time. It does not have a replaceable battery. It has an internal battery. It is built very ruggedly. There is a video of them running over this with a car, and it holds up, and I'm not going to do that, but I believe it. This feels like a brick, like in a good way, in the best way. You can drop this and nothing's going to happen. In fact, it hit a rock in the creek. There's not even a ding on it. Now, one problem that I've had with this radio, and I mean, it is great. I really have very few complaints so far, but one major problem I have is that the weather radio does not work, like at all, which is kind of shocking. I usually have very good experiences with Radioddity, but the weather radio does not work. I'll demonstrate that for you. You hold down the call button, and that puts you in weather mode, and all I get is static. It doesn't matter what channel I put it on, I'm always getting static. So let me try to change channels. Right now we're on weather channel. That was 2, this is 3, 4, 5. 6 has some kind of RF on it, but that's not a weather station. I'll prove it to you in a second. There's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that's back to 1. It sounds like something wants to come through, but nothing's coming through, and it doesn't matter where I move it, it doesn't pick up any weather radio signal. Now, just in case you think, well, maybe you're just in a bad area for weather radio. Well, that's why I brought tried and true GM30 with me. Now this is unmodified, no firmware upgrades, nothing. This is how you would buy it from Radioddity. This is the one that I hand to my family when we go out on adventures.
Welcome. Channel mode.
So right now, we're on channel 17.
16.
Just put it on channel 16 for kicks. But I'll put this in weather mode now, and you'll see that you'll hear the difference.
If you have questions about the broadcast, please contact us at 609-261-6600 between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m.
That's Weather Channel 2.
Are performed on once again in Harrisburg. It was 54
That's Weather
degrees
Channel 1,
under
which is
most
further
sunny
away from
skies,
me.
And at York, it was 50 miles an hour.
That's Weather Channel 3, which I normally can't really pick up. But this is picking it up. That's 4. That's 5. 6 doesn't come in at all, and then it goes back to 1. So, I don't know what's going on with the HD-1, but there is clearly something wrong with the weather radio portion of it, because the GM30 picks it up no problem. And again, the GM30 is one of my favorites. But that being said, for an FRS radio, this is not bad at all. In fact, I really kind of like it. So if you do want to pick one of these up, head on over to Radioddity, use my affiliate link. If you would, I would appreciate it. And if you want to pick up something else, you can actually get some money off by doing that. But yeah, please use my affiliate link. It helps support the channel, and I would appreciate it. But that's the HD-1 by Radioddity. I've really enjoyed playing around with it, and it's going to be added to the collection. I'll catch you next time. And remember, when it comes to tech, I've got you covered.